Hey there, everybody, and welcome back to the Morehammer podcast. It feels like such a long time because the last time we were back, it was a bit of an early one last time, so it feels like it's been an age. But we are back, your fortnightly Warhammer podcast, where we talk all things around the hobby. And as always, I am one of your hosts, wargamingluke, and as always, we're joined by Simon, our local hobby psycher, aka the Hobby Waffle, and of course, this week, feel the benefit, Ben, aka 90% Geek. How are we doing, guys? You okay?
Yeah, good. Thanks.
Good, yeah.
Good. We've got plenty we can catch up on, I'd say, this week, because as I say, it's been sort of almost 2.5 weeks really in a way since the last episode, because we had the early one for the reaction for all the reveals we had from Heresy and all that good stuff in the video game announcements. So we're going to catch up viewers and listeners with your community questions and things like that this week. We've got lots of hobby updates we can get into for what we've been up to over the last couple of months, probably, really, since we did our last hobby updates. And we've got, of course, reveals and news we can chat about as well. But if you're new to listening to us here or watching us on YouTube, please do make sure to subscribe or follow us on Spotify. It always definitely helps us, and leaving all important comments on the videos as well. It helps with the algorithm and things like that to push the videos. So obviously, like I said, we're doing our community questions this week. If you guys want to get a question in that you want us to answer for a later episode, this is the place to do it. Or you can join us on the Morehammer Discord, which is always nice. Get involved in it with our community, our lovely, lovely community. You can share your hobby updates, questions, and get involved in the chat weekly with us as well over there. The link will be in the description below, guys, whatever platform you're on. But I think that covers the off-the-top stuff, fellas. So, Ben, what is it time for?
And now the news.
Beautiful, beautiful. So yeah, let's just jump straight into it, guys. The oldest one I've got since the last time we covered news, I believe, is because I've combined all the Age of Sigmar stuff to do in a bit because for the IDNF.
Okay.
Oh, Blood Bowl.
Yeah, Blood Bowl. And this is how old it is since we haven't done an episode since. So we have Maple Highgrove and Swiftwine Glimmershard.
There's an
really
FAQ as well, isn't there?
Oh, what? Sorry.
There's been an FAQ as well, an errata document.
Okay.
Yeah. 29th of May, I think it was.
Okay.
So they've not forgot the game, and it also means that maybe a new edition isn't as soon as we thought it might be. But I mean,
So
you never know.
is this new star players?
Yeah, he's a star player tree man. So we've had,
What else?
up until now, we've had kind of big guy type tree man. I don't think we've had a star player tree man in this edition of the game until now.
Not
yeah, he's really cool.
Man, really. No, have we?
Well, there's two characters here, isn't there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mischievous Spite, and then you got the Tree Man as well, who's prickly as a rosebush. Glimmershard's debut with the Dar Alarath beech trees infamously ended in a pitch littered with corpses as players and fans alike learned to their horror that she will not stand for being called cute, small, or adorable, let alone being referred to as a fairy. That's pretty fun. I do like that.
Never trust the Fae.
No, that's very true. I think we've said it before. I think you've said it before. So I love the artwork they do for this.
With every article, there's always some nice sort of cartoony style art. It's really cool.
Really cool. Whoever does those, I have to find out to give them a shout out. But yeah, very cool. And as always, Blood Bowl. I'm not entirely familiar with,
fit of temper.
Yeah. Furious Outburst, which fits the character, I suppose.
Yeah, it counts as the Blitz, but it's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's very cool. And there's more artwork there for Maple, as if you go and call a tree character Maple.
And,
Jesus.
Of course, all of the teams I think that are in are certainly my team and Size team from our.
We can hire these.
Can hire these?
Yeah, it says at the bottom.
Anyone from the Halfling Thimble.
Yeah.
Which I don't think
Elven
includes
Kingdoms League.
Snotlings.
Yeah.
But yeah, cool. That's really cool.
210,000 gold pieces. So
that's not a bad price.
Yeah, you guys be more familiar with that, the price than me, but...
Oh yeah, on the right there.
Yeah. So, I mean, did they have to FAQ her straight away or something because she's just like overpowered or something?
No, this is just that's for the
Blood
game.
Bowl
it's
in
not for
general.
star players.
Yeah. I thought you were saying that they had to FAQ her straight away. It's just too overpowered or something.
We
screwed up the tree man
without even being
It wouldn't
released
surprise
yet.
me.
A woman. But no, very cool. Let us know, Blood Bowl fans, what you think of that one in the comments. Moving on, I've collected together all the IDNF stuff that's come out since the last episode.
There's really not that much.
No, there's a few, and I'll be honest, a bit disappointing, but we'll get to it afterwards. So the first one, you got the new Achillean. It's on here somewhere. I forget.
It's the guy with the 2 eels from
Icon of the Sea.
Little Mermaid.
Yeah. So you got a couple or a few different versions of this. So that one there, and you come down, you got one with, I think, the 2 blades. Yeah, the Icon Mastery of the Ether Sea. So
I like that pause. I think I prefer that one.
I think so as well. But yeah. But as always, GW, especially for Age of Sigmar, they seem to do it as well, which is very sad for us. They seem to just give us these single lone heroes for most of the factions a lot of the time. To be fair, though, actually, 40k does get it happen as well, because we had it with, Death Guard, and that had it, didn't they, this year? You just get, like, a single, very sad-looking hero, and that's kind of it. But there is one or 2 more little things they did get, and obviously you got the Battle Tome there. However, actually, I will say, their new, the Achillean Tide Guard, their new spearhead, that's quite a nice spearhead, I think.
You get a lot of eels in it.
You get quite a nice mix in there, though, I think, of like big hero, and then you got the 2 elite units, fast moving units of the eels, and then you got the archers in there as well. I think it's quite good.
What was in the last one? In the like the Vanguard or whatever it was it the 3 eels, a shark, and then send them after Reavers?
I can't remember what else was in there, but yeah, something like that. I think, were the archers in that one as well, or was it the melee versions? I can't remember.
I think it was the melee version. I think.
Yeah, I think.
Well, I think. Yeah, you got 3 eels. I think it was the shark, and then the melee version, and then one of the characters. I think it was.
Yeah, that one always seemed to be quite a good mix as well, really. But again, they've got a decent one again there. I think it's not too samey or anything. You get a nice mix, which is what I always look for in these spearheads. But they also got the Oracle of Methala, Oracle of the Abyss. I'm not keen on that model.
Cool.
You like that one, Ben?
Quite cool.
Okay.
I quite like this one. Yeah.
Yeah.
I like the weird kind of wavy trident, and like the
the trident's quite cool, to be fair.
And
the fish are alright. I don't know if it's like the weird tassels coming off the head, makes it, or back, or whatever it is, look a bit odd. But yeah, it's okay. And then that's all the base there for that one. And then the Endless Spells and their lore is the Lore of the Abyss, and it seems to be one big spell, Endless Spell, for these, which is the Incarnate of the Deep. So we've already got the Incarnate, which is another lore entirely, and they just decided to basically give them like a C version for their lore.
I like this one. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's a bit disappointing that they only got the one in the spell, but it's cool that they got one big one, I guess. What do you think of this model, Ben, as well?
I'm less bothered by the giant wave, to be honest.
Yeah. For me, it grows on me a bit more every time I see it, but there's just a bit too much going on with it for me. Like, it looks a bit messy. But I don't know if that's also the way it's been painted or something. I don't know. Well, I don't know. It might grow on me a bit, but I'm not currently an IDNF player or anything anyway, so I guess IDNF fans, let us know. Either in the Discord or in the chat, let us know if any of these new models did it for you, or if you fancied something different. I would have liked to have seen them do a bit more with IDNF. It's such a cool faction for possibilities. You know, they could have done with maybe another infantry option, another cool,
only really
big
got
sea
a couple
monster.
of infantries.
Yeah, there's tons of stuff they could do, but there's only so many big releases they can do in a year, I suppose. So, it's just one of them. It looks like the undead are getting all the nice treatment at the moment for Sigmar. That is it, though, I think, for all the IDNF stuff. Say again, Si.
Just you wait until the Chaos Dwarfs come.
Yeah, very true. That's very true.
You're still predicting that.
Yeah, definitely.
I think it will be eventually. I agree, but I just don't know
They've
when.
dropped too many hints with the maps and the rule book and the little lore snippets and stuff like that. They're definitely coming.
It's either that or it's literally just the Age of Sigmar design team dropping hints in there constantly and just waiting to get the approval from the hierarchy to actually do it, because they're like, how well are they going to sell them?
But when you look back at when the Votan returned, if you go back prior to it, there were little hints in White Dwarf. There was hints like little texts, little bits of blurb of text and things like that about spotted a spaceship of squat design and things like that. So I definitely think they're coming.
And that went on for a couple of years, to be fair, for the Votan, so it wouldn't surprise me.
Well, we're getting into nearly 18 months now since we've first seen the hints.
Yes. Yeah, for sure. We'll have to wait and see. It's one of them things that we'll have in predictions coming up, I suppose. One of the other things we'll probably do in an episode soon, guys, is we'll do maybe like a second half of the year predictions or something, what we think will come. Yeah, that sort of thing. We'll have one of those. However, we'll move on to the last bigger bit of news, which I'm sure Ben will be happy to chat about as well, which is for the old world. And that's that we're getting a big new book expansion, if you like, which says it's entitled The Old World Match Play Guide. But I think there's quite a bit more that's not necessarily just match play in here. I don't know about you, Ben.
Yeah, well, I mean, it talks about having a variety of additional scenarios to play, so it's not strictly something that's from the contents page, at least, just aimed at, sort of tournament play and so forth. It's almost aimed at adding a bit of variety to your games, and I'm always in favor of that. The idea that, you've got the scenarios that are already in the existing kind of core book, but here are kind of, I think it's 6 different scenarios that they've created for this, and some kind of other alternative kind of bits and bobs as well, like things like how to do doubles games, or how to run an event.
I'm excited about that, to be honest. Yeah, because I mean, flat old world. Every time I've returned to it recently, I've been like, it's still fun, but I'm like, it gets a little bit old for me. Like, I'm used to like the everything, the modern stuff where it's all like you get the secondary objectives and all that extra stuff to think about. Or even like we haven't had a narrative expansion yet for old world, So it'd be nice to. Yeah, I know. Yeah, I know. I think we will.
Still, definitely a campaign. Arcade Journal coming after a cafe.
I hope so.
After cafe, I would imagine there'll be a Border Princes book, because they put too much work into the Border Princes.
For sure. But I'm happy with this for now. This looks like it's got some fun stuff. I used to love the secret objectives as well. I used to love doing like the old Triumph and Treachery and all that stuff. I'm happy to see some of this sort of stuff returning, and hopefully some new things in there as well. And always nice to be able to have proper double scenarios as well, if you want to play a doubles game at all.
Well, that's it. I mean, this is extremely useful, obviously, if you're a tournament organizer, but it's equally useful if you just want to mix up your games a bit with your friends. And I think it's also kind of just a cool little add-on that you haven't really seen anything like this for the other game systems. I mean, we've had like the Seasons of War stuff for Age of Sigmar and similar for 40k, but this is a completely different take on it. And I think it's really cool.
Oh, yeah. I'll be picking this up.
A lot more like this.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to this, because I'll be whenever I return to Old World, I'll be happy to like freshen up with some different scenarios. So yeah.
One thing just one thing myself, I'm hoping that this might kind of forehand is that they might do a narrative play guide book, for example, that might be, like you say, something akin to like Triumph and Treachery. That it might be, alternative ways to play it, a bit like the kind of the Crusade rules, perhaps almost. Yeah. One of the things that myself and Michael, or Funkadrom as he appears on our Discord, are trying out at the moment is the 6th edition Warhammer Fantasy Battle Rules have some campaign rules in the back of the book. The 5th edition book also had some awesome campaign rules, which I've used before. But the 6th edition book's got kind of a slightly more streamlined version of the campaign system. And we're planning on Wednesday night. It was going to be Sunday, but life got in the way. So now Wednesday night, we're going to try and test them out using them in the old world instead. Because thus far, they seem, because there's a lot of 6th edition's DNA in the old world, they seem to port over to
quite well.
The old world really well. So we'll let you guys know on the Discord how that pans out. Anyone who wants to see that, come and see on the Discord.
I'll be interested to see how that works out then, actually. Are you do you think you'll run your own little campaign between each other, like narrative? Or
that's what we'd like to do,
yeah.
Is maybe if the finding time to game is often a problem for both of us because we've both got kids and we both work quite a lot. But we're going to try out like a Wednesday evening, see if that works better than trying to squeeze something in on a weekend.
Yeah,
and if it does, then maybe we'll try and do it as a more kind of regular thing.
That sounds cool. But yeah, that's that one. The only other thing we said we might touch on slightly, obviously, just in case viewers are probably wondering as well, because there has been a lot of articles, obviously, around like Horus Heresy, the new edition, some rules changes, things like that, and maybe where we're at with if we've got any other thoughts on Horus Heresy new edition since we obviously saw the reveal. I've been chatting to people about it on Discord for all week really, kind of saying that I'm kind of being pushed away from it. I think just time really more than anything. I don't think I've really got the time to jump into a new game, learn the new rules, and I'm just not. I don't think I want to invest a hell of a lot into that new set if I'm not that fired up, if you know what I mean, to do it. But that's where I'm at with it. But I don't know about you guys. Have the rules and things that have been coming out, and has your mindset changed at all on what you're going to be doing?
I mean, when we first spoke about the box before the reveal, or it might have just been after the reveal, I said I probably wouldn't get the box because I was a bit sort of umming and ahhing over the rules. But having seen the articles that have come out, and between me and my friend who I usually end up have games with, we've decided we're going to go in for Heresy 3.0.
Oh, cool.
I'm quite excited about it, to be honest. At the minute, I'm just not interested in 40k whatsoever. So I've got a sort of a gap in my games that I'm interested in. For me, it's just Old World and Heresy now, to be honest with you, and obviously a bit of Blood Bowl. I just think the way that they've brought leadership, well, obviously you've got leadership as your stats, but they brought back intelligence, willpower, and cool. And for anyone old enough to remember, they're in Rogue Trader or variations of that. So there's ways that your Tech Marine might have like high intelligence, so we can fix equipment or activate something in a mission that's a part of an objective. But he might have lower willpower against psychic power. So there's peaks and drops in the stats that will determine what characters can do what, which I think is pretty cool. So that should be interesting. They've changed weapons a little bit as well. On the first glance, it seems really complicated, but I don't think it's going to be that bad. Like all the melee weapons now are mainly just modifiers. So it'll say like strength modifier +1, or it'll just say strength, attacks modifier +or -1, initiative modifier. And that's all they do. So once you remember that a power fist will take -2 off your initiative or whatever the figure is, I can't remember. That's it. All you need to remember is what the keywords do. And as long as they keep the keywords simple and keep them all in the same sort of place, I don't know, it should be all right. I'm looking forward to seeing Wednesday's article on army selection because they said they've simplified that. So that'll be interesting. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it, to be honest.
Nice. And Ben, I suppose...
I feel the thoughts of Lunar Wolves coming on.
It's good that you got a friend, though, who's looking at playing it. You can play it with as well, which
yeah,
is ideal,
if he wasn't into it, then I probably would be a little bit more cautious and I might just buy the rule book. But I love the Mark II Marines, so there's that. I'm not bothered about the big gun. I might have to pass that on, but everything else in the box I do want.
Fair dues. Ben? Yeah,
I'm equally tempted by the big box still. I'm excited to what this edition is going to be like. Likewise, I'm interested for Wednesday's article because I want to know more about how they streamlined army building, because I love kind of the narrative element to the Horus Heresy, and I'd love to see kind of if you can build more kind of themed armies. That'd be really cool.
Yeah, that's one handy thing with the older games. The way they do the list building is a lot more flexible, isn't it? So it's the one thing I hate about the newer games, if I'm honest.
Yeah, I'm excited for these Arcane Journal style campaign dossiers or whatever they are. So the first one's going to be about the Drop Site Massacre, but the potential for these books where they can add like themed army lists, sort of like what they do with the Old World. I think they're trying to make the new Heresy like the Old World. So you've got a Forces of Fantasy and a Ravening Hordes book in your form of Liber Astartes and Hereticus. Then these Arcane Journals, we've got the Drop Site Massacre one. They might do one for the Rangdan genocides, but I doubt they'll do that. But I think they like
Battle of Prospero or something like that.
They could do, yeah, Burning of Prospero. They could do
Betrayal at Calth. That would be really cool, actually. Betrayal at Calth book.
There's all sorts
Just
of
pick
different
some of the really
battles
awesome
and
kind of narrative battles of the Heresy and feature those as campaign arcane journals. I'd buy all of those.
yeah, and they can put themed army lists together like you get in the Arcane Journal, so that should be pretty interesting. And plus, they can go back as well to like the Great Crusade, notable battles from the Great Crusade.
That is the money that I still feel they are leaving on the table. As
Emperor's
far
Children
as
versus the Lair.
Well, the Lair, then you get to the difficulty that they've got to produce models for them.
This is true.
A simple one is if they produced a book called The Great Crusade and it featured Horus Heresy era type rules for Orcs, Eldar.
That's the whole different kettle of fish, that isn't it?
No, but that's it. You start including rules for the armies that we know were around and active during the era of the Great Crusade, and being able to fight battles of the Great Crusade. So having your legions versus, waves of orcs or something, that would be really cool.
I mean, one thing I'm still tempted to do is maybe get 1 or 2 Primarchs a year from the Heresy range and just collect them over time, because the Primarch models are so cool, and to have them, like, all of them on display at some point would be amazing. But it's a fortune, and we'll see.
You're just waiting for your Legions Imperialis Primarchs, aren't you?
Legions Imperialis.
Gotta catch them all.
Yeah, for sure. The mini ones. If that ever does turn up, I'm right in there. If we ever get to sort of live react to like a reveal show or something, and they show up, man, we're gonna lose our shit over that.
Luke just falls backwards off his chair.
Yeah, it's gonna be awesome.
It's gonna be like collecting mini boglins all over again. He won't remember them.
No, I do though.
My era was all about the Pokemon.
I went down an eBay rabbit hole with boglins and mini boglins. Nearly ended up buying them all.
Pogs. Do you remember Pogs?
I do, yeah.
Nice.
Luke's like, what?
Fiendish feet yogurt.
To be fair though, half the stuff I'd say about like you guys wouldn't know either.
I got the Star Wars Tazos.
I've got the Star. I had the Star Wars Tazos. I don't know if I still got them. No idea.
Get them in packets of Walker's crisps. It was ace.
Yeah, it was brilliant.
Bygone is the era where you get like toys and stuff inside of like cereal packets and all that sort of stuff. Bring it back.
Yeah.
I remember you used to get proper toys in cereal packets. I remember getting Sporky Dorkies for your bike.
Yes,
on your wheels, remember?
It'd rattle up and down the spokes, and then
I remember getting some of them, and I was riding my bike, looking down at the wheel.
I don't know why none of them do it anymore. If it's like not allowed anymore or something, I have no
idea.
Probably like someone ate them.
Yeah, well, I remember getting Sporky Dorkies for my bike, and I was riding it, looking down at the wheels, watching them like clacking away and making the noise. And the next thing I know, I was on the back window of an Astra because it was parked in the street. Wasn't watching where I was going, and just boom, straight into the back of it. Some guy on the window, boom, 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 shouting at me. I just pedalled off as fast as I could with the handlebars, like skew with.
My God. Yeah, brilliant stuff. So guys, I reckon we go into a bit of a hobby section if you fancy it.
Let's do it.
Sai, I've got yours up first. You got yours in first this week. I'll whack it up for you.
I've built some Mark 6 Marines. I'm waiting for the Mark 2, but I was bored, so I thought I was deciding I'd just build a 10-man tactical squad for now. So I put those together. They're a nice build, actually. It's annoying that there's only 5 poses, but I've managed to swap arms around from the different poses, so they're all different. So that was good fun building them. It kept me quiet for a couple of nights. And then I finally magnetized my Predator. I had a go at this about a year ago, and I couldn't do it. And it annoyed me because I couldn't do it. Because I've magnetized my Rhino and my Dreadnoughts. Anyway, I came up with an idea to use rectangular magnets for anyone that's listening on Spotify. So there's a magnet inside the turret, and then where the main weapon joins the turret, there's like a vertical spine. So I've cut a section out of it. And then the magnet sort of fits in there, and it stops the gun from rotating. So I finally managed to magnetize it, and I've magnetized the back bin as well. So when you put the Volkite main gun on, you can change the back bin.
Cool.
So yeah, that's come out of the box, and I finally got it ready for Horus Heresy. That's been a whip project for 18 months.
Wow.
a lot of fiddling.
Yeah, but it's finally
getting frustrated and going away and coming back to it over the period of 18 months.
That's cool, dude.
I can imagine. It's good though. He's did a good job with that. It's one of those handy
I didn't
things as well.
magnetize the sponsons though because it was annoying me. So I've just built them with
I was going to ask,
I've got,
did you?
no, but I've got the Sakaran that's got Volkite sponsons on it. And then I've got another one of these that I've built the heavy bolter sponsons on, so I can switch them around because they just turn and lift off. So I didn't see the need to magnetize them, to be honest.
Awesome. And
That's
then
cool,
I'm sure if you're getting into Heresy, you'll be inundated with more Heresy stuff soon enough in the next month or so, I imagine.
Oh yeah, I can see a few more tanks in my future, to be honest.
Yes.
Well, especially if it turns out there's like tank company lists or anything coming up this Wednesday.
Oh, I'm sure.
I want the new rapiers that they've shown. The ones that have gone on are going on pre-order on Saturday.
How surprising is that they've got on pre-order before the main
Yeah.
box is released?
So weird.
Yeah, there's a few talking points today on Reddit and on Bolter and Chainsaw. So people are saying it's interesting that, like you say, it's coming before Saturnine. So do they want to get them out of the way for some warehouse space, or
Yeah.
Maybe.
is it just that Saturnine's delayed slightly, or I don't know, maybe there's a gap in the
Could
release
be.
schedule and thought, let's do these now. So now people are thinking, oh, we might see the breaches early. Or we
That would
might
be
see
very
them.
cool.
Yeah, we might see the Mark II melee ones early, but I doubt it. I think that'll be
No,
after
I
the big
don't.
boss.
I don't think we'll get
It
the
is
Mark. I don't think we'll get the
weird,
Mark
I
II
must
melee before we get the Mark II, like in
No,
the
absolutely not.
Saturnine box.
The breaches maybe, but not the melee ones.
Well, that's it, because the breaches aren't Mark II, are they? They're Mark III,
No,
aren't
Mark
they?
III.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Maybe the
So the
team
breaches
was
are
sort of thinking
compatible
like,
with. Sorry, I say the breaches are compatible with the existing Mark III kit. Then
Yeah, I think so.
I was going to say maybe it's just purely they were thinking it's just turrets. Like, if we kind of release it in the middle of everything else, just after Saturnine's come out, are they going to maybe sell as well? Maybe it's that sort of thing where it's like they know Saturnine's coming, so it's like, oh,
Maybe
let's
the
just put the
Saturnine
turrets
box is
out
going to be
and-
so wallet breaking that no one's going
Yeah.
to want to buy anything after
Turrets,
that.
yeah. So I'm just wondering if, like, you know, get people a bit more a bit more
So
of a
yeah, we
tease
get some
leading up
new
to it.
plastic track vehicles, track weapons in the rapiers. There's tarantulas as well. I'm not that bothered about, but the rapiers I do want, especially with the new crew.
They look
so the crew were in Mark IV armor or Mark VI?
Yeah, they're in some sort of variant of Mark IV. It's like a cross between Mark IV and Mark VI with the Tech Marine style slabbed helmet.
Yeah.
So you
So I
get two
wonder if,
rapiers.
again,
Pardon?
because it's not the Saturnine's armor style, because it's not the Mark II, is that maybe why they've taken the punt on releasing it early?
Possibly, yeah. Yeah, but I think I might get some.
Cool. Are you okay for me to go on the side with mine for hobby updates?
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah. It's got like 2 months to
What have you
catch
been
up
up
on,
to,
so I've
dude?
condensed it as best I can. Because it has been a
You
while. I
forced
think
me
since
to
we've done
condense
them.
mine down.
I know. Well, no, that's what I'm saying.
The limelight,
I've
didn't
tried
they?
to do single pictures for each thing, basically, because otherwise I have like millions of tabs open for individual photos, and it's a nightmare. So I'm gonna do the battles that I've done since I'll few top ones that I've done.
Okay.
All of this is not even covering half of probably what I've been doing, to be honest, over the last couple of months. It's been that time of year where I've been really super busy with work. This is my busiest time of year with work, but somehow it just drives me to hobby in the evenings like mad.
I'm so busy, and look at all the games I've got in it.
Yes, exactly. But first one was actually this last week. First game with the old world in a while. So my
looking
Tomb
nice, dude.
Kings against Shane and his High Elves, and we had a dragon off. With my Tomb King's Bone Dragon and his High Elf Prince on there. And I am supposed to have a king on top of my that dragon. He just keeps falling off.
The dragon is the king, clearly.
Exactly. Yeah, that was a fun battle. Tomb Kings ended up winning it out. But if I'm being honest, I think Mike brought it up in the Discord as well. At 1,000 points, Tomb Kings tend to have the edge a bit anyway, being a horde army, and they're a bit more survivable. So, but the dragon fight was what it was all about. It was great fun. Then we did finish finally Curse City.
Hey,
Last week actually.
That's
Or the
not
week before
Curse
last
City.
week. No. So we've moved on. We're going backwards in time. We've never played Blackstone, so we've chucked down Blackstone Fortress and started that up. My housemate bought
Blackstone
Blackstone.
Fortress is a great game.
I'm already enjoying it more than Curse City, I have to be honest.
It's brilliant.
Yeah, it's really cool. Some of the like challenge scenarios and things are great fun. Like, so some of them that have been thrown up already, like there's the gauntlet one where you have to like run through the middle, and you have to, each hex you move across, you have to make a test to see if you fall through down the middle of the
Yeah,
gauntlet.
there's traps and all sorts. It's awesome.
Oh, it's great. And it's weird because you'd think, looking at it from the outside, like Curse City obviously adds in the leveling system and all that, so you'd have thought it'd be a bit deeper, but it somehow works out the opposite way. It's very strange. But Curse City, the ending's quite cool, but it just dragged on a bit, to be honest.
One of the things I love about Blackstone is the setting as well, where you've got that big, I can't remember what it's called now, but it's basically
Blackstone
like the
Fortress.
Mos Eisley of the Blackstone Fortress, where you can like visit vendors and upgrade your stuff and things like that. It's awesome.
It is cool. The and the main thing I would say, I think that's better about it, to be honest, is that the missions are shorter. The way it's designed is it's better, because it fits better into a night. If you just want to do like an hour for a scenario or 2 hours, it's a lot better. Curse City, the scenarios, especially the boss fights, can drag on for like 3-4 hours, and it can be a bit of a drag. But yeah, we started Blackstone, so I'll update on that as we go. But it's very enjoyable. And then one other game that I had a couple of weeks back, my friend got his new Thousand Suns Codex, so we played with that, and I used my new Ultramarines Librarian Conclave. That was one of the Christmas Grotmas detachments they put out.
Oh yeah.
So I painted up a few months ago Tigurius and a couple of Librarians to try them out, and it was quite good fun. Brought a bit of a different playstyle to the Ultramarines, and obviously up against the Thousand Suns, very psychic heavy, so it was a pretty cool fight overall. I lost, but it was worth it. It was a good fun game. And my friend Finn, he's got the Thousand Suns scheme on them. He's got the old sort of heresy scheme.
Gold.
Yeah, very cool. But that was brief look at some of the games I had. Some great games in the last month or two. Then painting, and this literally is the meaning of speed painting, aside from kind of the basing. Yes, in the last 2 months, I have indeed done a small force of Necrons. And this is a testament to speed paint, because it actually goes very, very well with bolt gun metal base coat spray. And I'm not going to bring up tons of individual photos here of the army that I've done so far, but this is the
Do you want to buy some Necrons?
Yeah. But this is what
with
I've
your
done,
crackled green
so
bases again as well.
Yeah, which I think work well, obviously, with the Necrons.
It does.
Jesus Christ.
It's really good.
How far down did them Skaven dig?
Yeah. Into the future. Yeah.
Well, they did contact the Eldar apparently on one of their little.
They did.
Oh yes.
In the end times.
Yeah.
So the story goes. And then they blew it up and smashed it up because they didn't know who it was.
Wrong number.
Yeah, pretty much how it went.
But yeah, I think it's probably just over 1,000 points I've got done so far.
Awesome.
And
it'll
be a bit of a break from these now, because I've got to paint up Tyranids for. We're doing the second part of our 40k campaign for the Battle for the Lumia system in the Natman Gauntlet, so we're doing that now over the next couple of months.
I bet you it took
local
longer
club.
to build them than it did to paint them.
Yes, actually did, yeah. Because some of them could be quite fiddly as well, being typical Necrons.
They are the B1 battle droids of the Warhammer 40,000 universe. They're a pain to put together.
Yeah. So yeah, that was the Necrons, and basically gotten started up on the Nids, smashed out some gaunts, and also, I'm won't
so
do it
jealous
until
of people who have this much time to hobby.
Well, I have the added thing of I have my own business, so I can come home for lunch and paint whilst I'm on my lunch, which surprisingly, an hour a day can get you through a hell of a lot, especially with speed paint. So that's what I would say. But Nids, I am also. Do you guys remember I was doing the one of my things for my New Year's resolutions was to do battlefield terrain setup. So I'm going to do it for the Nids for the second part of our campaign. And I've started with. This is just a piece I picked up off eBay, so it's got to be darkened a bit yet, but I've started on it for like a biopool. And also...
Oh, I know why you want the kill team box now.
Look at these. So cool. So you got a massive spore mine that's like tangled onto a Imperial wall. And then you got like obviously the big...
Spore
kind of
towers, I
spine.
think.
Yep, spore towers. There's a big, massive, thick off.
You do
one
not
here.
want to be sitting on that.
No, but they're really cool. I'll find the guy who sold these and printed these from eBay because I said I'd give him a shout out once I've painted them. But that'll be for next time, I think. But yeah,
Awesome.
that
Cool.
is everything I've been up to over the last couple of months, effectively. But Ben, we can move on to you.
See,
Dude.
now I see why you told me I wasn't allowed to send you pictures of everything that I've painted. Because you clearly had so much more of your stuff that you wanted to show
That's
off.
what it was.
Well, I could have showed the individual pictures of all the units I painted, but I didn't.
Okay,
so
well, let's
this
see
is what I
you've
mean.
loaded up for mine.
Yeah. So these are the ones you sent
we'll
me.
go with the
Yeah.
elves
So
first. Yep. So I have set myself a little challenge since I think the last time we podcast. I just randomly decided to start painting Lord of the Rings miniature, namely the plastic sort of Warriors of the Last Alliance elf with a bow, who's loitering on the left-hand side of this picture. This is the original elves that were released in the very first Lord of the Rings box way back in 2001. And I just
still
kind
look
of
great,
pondered
though,
to
don't they?
myself. No, that's it. Well, I pondered to myself. I thought these are quite good models. I've always really liked these. Never necessarily thought I could do them justice because they are quite fiddly in terms of detail. And I pondered what could I achieve if I used some of the modern paints that we've got, like contrast paints and speed paints and stuff, and technical paints on these older models that obviously were released way back when we were still on kind of some of the original paints range. So I threw myself into it and painted the elf on the left with the bow and was dead chuffed with how it came out. And then it kind of came to me that maybe I could set myself kind of a little challenge for a potential future video of painting one Lord of the Rings miniature, just one Lord of the Rings miniature per night, every night for 30 days. And I've actually
dude, that's impressive. I couldn't find the time for that.
Well, that's it. But I mean, one miniature, if you commit yourself to painting just one miniature, it's actually, you get a lot of time to focus on just that one miniature. And especially if it's not like a really fancy character or anything. I've learned quite a bit. And I'm going to do a video at the end of the 30 days to say kind of, here's what I learned, here's my thinking on it. One of the things that occurred to me is, this is kind of blew my mind slightly. So 2001, these two models were released. So these models are 24 years old.
Wow.
When the Lord of the Rings,
crazy.
the Lord of the Rings game, as it is now, is older now than 40k was when the Lord of the Rings game released. Just think on that for a minute. So imagine you go back to the heady days of 2001, and the Lord of the Rings movie's in the cinema, and the game's cracking out onto the tabletop, and the game that's released, that it's kind of the main game, one of the most famous games at the time, 40k, was around for less time by that point than the Lord of the Rings game has been kind of part of Games Workshop's main games line since then. It kind of blew my mind a little bit thinking about it in those terms. And just kind
Did
of.
you say you've used contrast on these, Ben?
I have, yes.
Yeah.
So I mean, I'll cover this in my video.
Metal, aren't they?
These are plastic. No, so these are some of the
plastic,
original
okay.
plastic models that were released in the box. The original box, you got a sprue, which was a mixture of these guys with the bows and the two-handed swords, and the kind of men of the Last Alliance, the Warriors of Numenor. And then you got a whole bunch of Moria goblins, bizarrely, because the plastic orc didn't come out until the third box set of the game. You had to wait ages for the plastic orc to come out. There was only if you wanted to do a Mordor army, your options were essentially 4 different poses of metal orc for about 2 years. Which is crazy because it just blows my mind slightly as well because the Moria goblins weren't at the Battle of the Last Alliance.
No.
But anyway, I did. The gold is. We'll switch over to a Rider of Rohan here, but I'll finish telling you about that. No, it's all right. The gold was done. I wanted to try and capture that kind of slightly greenish tinge that they have. Because there's something that interests me about the Lord of the Rings elves. And it's visible in I've got the Arms and Armour book that Weta Workshop published around the time that sort of talks about the ethos that they had behind the design of the costumes. And when they were designing the elves of the Second Age, so the ones that kind of fought alongside Elrond against Sauron at the Battle of the Last Alliance, they wanted them to have this kind of spring, kind of summer vibe to them. So they gave the armor this kind of slightly greenish tinge. Whereas the elves that you see fighting at Helm's Deep alongside Aragorn and the rest in the Two Towers, it's the end of the Third Age. And they wanted to show that the elves are in decline. So they gave them an autumnal, kind of reddish-brownish cast to their armor. I think that's just a really cool little kind of design ethos. But I wanted to try and capture that, and I was racking my brain on how to get it just right. And I tried Mantis Warrior Green contrast paint over one of the brighter kind of light colored golds. And I was really chuffed with how it came out. It kind of really kind of captured the detail. It sank nicely into the crevices between those thin banded armor plates, but gave it that kind of slightly greenish cast. And yeah, there's still a lot. If you switch to the next picture, which was a Rider of Rohan, there's, which again, these came out in the second edition box, the second box that they released, the Two Towers box. Yeah, there's just loads of little bits that I've tried doing things like that. So, I mean, his cape's been done with, I think I did War Flesh with Creed camo over the top. Kind of just slightly thinned down to let it seep into the recesses. And I've just tried with each of these to kind of test out different things using the contrast paints and kind of some of the technical paints that we've had available. I'm really chuffed with how they've all come out. So yeah, I've been alternating doing a good model and an evil model kind of every day. So that at the end of this, I'll end up with 15 good models and 15 evil models, all from just across the entire kind of length and breadth of the Lord of the Rings range. I think the most recent model that's been painted for them so far is possibly one of the Morin and Orcs. I think it was the plastic Morin and Orcs that they released for the Powerdor Fields box. And yeah, the oldest obviously was the Last Alliance Elves and Goblin and Warrior of the Last Alliance. But I've been throwing it open to the guys on the Discord and over on the kind of Lord of the Rings community on Facebook and on Twitter, or Blue Sky, not Twitter, essentially putting up 2 models every day and saying, right, you guys choose whichever one gets the most votes or likes, that's the one I'll paint. And that's been kind of a fun little kind of challenge aspect to it as well, as I don't know at the end of the day what I'm going to be painting for the next day.
Yeah, get involved on the Discord, guys, if you want to
come on,
suggestions for Ben.
If you don't follow me on Blue Sky already, come and follow me on there and vote on them. I've enjoyed doing this so much. So if you want to switch on to the next one, Luke. Here we are. So this is Blackguard of Barad-dûr and Knight of Dol Amroth. Again, Knight of Dol Amroth's been done with a Sherman blue contrast over, I think it's Runefang Steel or Stormhost Silver, one of the two really bright silvers, but just to give that kind of blued steel effect in the recesses.
That's very cool.
But yeah, I've really enjoyed doing this so much that I'm thinking of doing the same thing, but doing it either for 40k or the old world, because I've got loads of unpainted models for different armies across both of those game systems. And I quite like the idea of just trying again, painting one model a night, different model every night, different army based on what random strangers on the internet vote that I should paint.
No, I've been enjoying seeing which minis have popped up that you've been, and seeing what you've been playing around with paint wise. It's been pretty cool.
Necromunda would be a good one for that.
Well, it would. And funnily you should say that, because the last picture that I sent Luke was, as if by magic. You may remember the last time we did a hobby catch-up, I showed you a converted Malstrain Hive Scum or Brood Scum.
Yeah, you did.
That I had converted up. I converted up another one. This one's got 3 arms, because why not? But I've got some paint on them, and I'm dead chuffed with how they're coming out. I've got 3 more of these sat on the side of the painting station, so that when I painted my nightly Lord of the Rings miniature, I'm still desperate to paint something, I can throw some more paint on them. But yeah, I'm dead chuffed with how these come out. I think they look really kind of post-apocalyptic, radioactive mutant kind of trauma film Hive Scum, Brood Scum, rather than the kind of slightly cleaner Brood Scum that you got from the Hive Secundus box.
Yeah. They look like they've got something in common with the Malstrain Gene Sealers, don't they?
That's what I was going for, yeah. And yeah, it was just little things like they're all made from poxwalkers, and I needed a way to give one of them 2 pistols, and I could only had left-handed pistols. I couldn't find any more right-handed pistols left, which is why the one at the back in the orange spoiler suit has 2 left hands, because I needed to use 2 left-handed pistols.
Well, he's definitely well armed.
I'd say he was 4-armed. But
thanks very much, Mir, all week.
Yeah, no, you're right. It would work really well with Necromunda. It would. I thought about doing it as like a specialist games one. So doing, tomorrow I could paint a model from Necromunda or a model from Blood Bowl. You guys pick, and I'll paint one. Yeah. I've got loads of Blood Bowl minis that are sat unpainted. I've got loads of Necromunda models that are sat unpainted.
That's
got,
a good idea.
Loads of different kind of second. I could even do the Curse City ones. I could say, I'll paint a Curse City model. Do I paint a model from Curse City or Blackstone? You guys vote, and I'll paint one.
Diet crack. So as soon as we started up Blackstone Fortress, I was just like, I'm playing the Kroot. Dibs on the Kroot. Bring back
Funny
the
that.
Nomad. Oh, actually, sorry. I forgot to say, I've been playing a little bit here and there of the mod of the original Dawn of War, because you know how they announced the remake, so I had to go back and give it a go. The mod has like updated stuff for the Kroot on it, so the Kroot are way more fleshed out, and they have Diet Grek on there and his crew. It's
Really?
so cool. Yeah.
That's
It's
a
awesome.
cool add-on. I wonder if they've added anything more like that to
Oh, there's
any
tons
the
of
game.
stuff on there. I recommend downloading the mod just to have a go at it. There's so many fun little things in there, like characters and stuff you wouldn't expect. It's good fun. I'll drop a link to it in the Discord for people. But was that it for you, Ben? Any games or anything since the last one?
I'll tell you that. I was supposed to play one on Sunday, didn't get one played. I'm going to be playing it on Wednesday instead, and I will report back on the Discord how it goes, trying out the campaign rules from SecCAD.
Sounds good to me. Right, lads, let's get into a few community questions. We'll see what we have time for, because what we did want to do today as well, guys, the guys suggested they wanted to play return to a game of 20 questions, so if we have time we will.
Will we have time? We're already 48 minutes in.
So it's either we do like only a couple of questions and we do 20 questions, or a game of 20 questions, or we do more community questions.
I think maybe we just do the community questions. What do you think, Si? Unless you're
easy. I mean, I wouldn't mind playing 20 questions. We can always save it for the next one.
All right. Well, let's see how we go with questions first. Then we'll see what we can get through. We'll start off with, and this one is from a while back. So sorry again, guys, we haven't gotten to it, but there's been a lot of reveals lately. Sbonnet82. As a hobby, we are all stuck with a label of hoarder, pile of shame, or tower of potential. So what does a project have to do for you to sell it on? Is it critical, rule changes, a new shiny project, or just to fund another activity? That's what he's asking.
Good question.
Very good question.
It can be one of all of those things, I think.
Yeah.
I've just sold some stuff to fund another activity. Heresy's on the way, the new version of Heresy. So I've just shifted my Caradron Overlords start collecting box, which has been untouched since I bought it. I mean, it's been superseded by a Vanguard and probably now a Spearhead soon. So that's gone. But sometimes I'll look at something and I just think, I'm just not interested in that faction anymore. And sometimes it can be because the lore changes and they might write something into the lore that annoys me. And I think, well, I don't like that faction anymore. So it could be something like that, or it could be just that I bought it on a whim because I was like, oh, I'm going to do that. And then 10 minutes later, I've changed my mind.
That's usually
by that point, I've already got the screen on my laptop that says, we've got your order. It's on its way. Oh, never mind. So, yeah, it can be a combination of many things. But I think edition changes is a good point that he's brought up. When something changes completely, now I'll look at the box and think, well, there's no point even getting into that now. It's a brand new edition and I'm just going to sell it. So, yeah, I think various reasons can help me thin down my pile of potential. I'm not going to call it a pile of shame because it's a room of shame at this point. So, yeah.
Ditto. Yeah, funding future projects or, big purchases that need to be handled.
It's a plastic pension. That's the way I look at it. That's what I'm calling it. A plastic pension.
Investment.
It's not a hobby. It's an investment.
Yeah. And then there's some Black Library books over there that are
some of the older stuff does grow in value, so
No, it does. I had the Carcharodon's novels in hardback first edition, and I sold both of them last year to pay for an expensive birthday present for my wife. So yeah, it absolutely,
There you go, my darling. Dwarves paid for your birthday gift.
No, I think it often is. It's to either fund a future project or fund a big purchase. Or sometimes I've done it as, I think one of my favorite ways has been as doing it like a swap shop. So back during COVID, a lot of my kind of old world stuff that I've got now, I rebuilt a lot of my old world collection by basically doing trades and swaps online with other kind of obsessive hobbyists like myself. Like I had a big box of War Master Empire that I had utterly failed to paint for about 20 years. Or 15 years, I suppose it was by that point. And I desperately wanted a whole bunch of metal dwarves. And there was a guy in Germany who desperately wanted a bunch of metal War Master Empire. So we did a trade. And I like that kind of side of the hobby, the swap shop side of, oh, you've got something I want, I've got something you want. Here you go.
I
Is it appropriately, comparative in price? Doesn't matter. You've got what I want, and I got what you want.
I mean, for me, like I had a quite a number of years whilst I was at uni out of the hobby, and I sold a lot of stuff before I went to uni, so I kind of had a bit of a reset when I came back a few years ago. And since I've come back, I've been incredibly disciplined, to be fair. I've managed everything I've bought, I've built and painted, and I've kept so far. The only thing I did do, was it earlier this year or late last year? I bought the Marvel Crisis Protocol new starter set. That has already gone. That was one of them moments where I literally bought it on a whim, built a couple of models, and was like, I'm just not feeling it, and just needed it to sell it on to fund some more Warhammer goodness. So, yeah, that's what my answer would be. But thanks for that question, dude. As always, Syndraconic has sent in a couple, so we'll see how far we get with this. First question. This is a bit of a longer one, so we'll see if this is the only one we do for now, dude. The lore, is it really that important, and does it restrict some of each system's creativity? With more people getting into Warhammer, a lot of them are funneled into the hobby by popular lore YouTubers. Along with the actual lore, you get a lot of that creator's own takes, such as the missing Primarchs being a quaint idea for the hobby side of things in the 90s, but need more solid lore in the modern times for an audience looking for it. As such, certain expectations are set for these folks and what Warhammer should be. Does a more fervent fanbase adherence to the lore hurt the creative aspect of the hobby, with less folks rolling custom chapters or colour schemes, etc., and more so, does it limit the creative potential of the game? For instance, Age of Sigmar has a great setting, but the lore is largely considered forgettable. However, it has some of the most creative factions in all of Games Workshop's franchises. Bear with me, it's nearly done. 40k has fantastic lore and setting, but when comparing the two on a design miniature side of things, it's hard to say 40k is coming out on top. Additionally, does the stubborn adherence to lore make it difficult for new ideas to make it into a game like 40k, with things like the Primaris, female custodies, and way back even the Tau coming under flack when it was brought in? So a long-winded one, but in a simple manner of speaking, basically does lore affect people's interest in things, I suppose.
Well, to go back to an earlier bit of the question where you said, is the lore important?
Last month.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah, do try to keep your questions as short as you can, guys. Sorry.
I think the lore is vitally important to it. I think it's, without the lore, what are you creating models for? I definitely think the lore is important. And for me, it's what keeps me in the game. I don't think it's restrictive in terms of the creative process. The only time I can think where lore is maybe overdone is the Horus Heresy is great. The novel series is great, but I think they could have left some aspects of it to mystery and left some aspects a little bit ambiguous, but they've gone, 60 odd books, was it, or something like that, to the nth degree. And I think sometimes with all these books and all these authors putting their own little spin on things, that could potentially hamper creative decisions, because when they go to create something for the Heresy, they might think, yeah, but what did Dan Abnett say in that book like 84 books ago? Shit, we need to remember what he's put. Things like that might be an example. But I think the law is important. Yeah, I can't remember the rest of the question, to be perfectly honest.
No, that's the trouble. Yeah.
The question is like the lore of Warhammer. What you make of it, I think.
Yeah,
I've got it on. I actually had it open on my phone, ready, because I knew what he was going to say.
I mean, he did. So in the middle of it, he sort of said, so, and more so, does it limit the creative potential of the games? Basically, is the kind of
no, I don't think it does.
Does it can maybe some of each system's creativity?
It can maybe create speed bumps that they've got to get over because they've got to stick to established lore. But then again, it's not been beyond them to retcon stuff. For example, female custodies, they brought them in. It's not a problem. It is for a lot of people, but it's not a problem. Yeah, there's been lore that says it's been the firstborn sons that have been given over to the custodies, but don't matter, does it?
No.
My 2-bit width would be, I think even calling it lore isn't of itself a problem.
No, it's fluff, isn't it?
Well, it's not. No, fluff. It's not a single codified. The idea of lore to me, I mean, I know it's spelled LORE, but even then, it's it's something that's suggesting it's some kind of codified record. and
No,
every
it's
Black
myth
Library
and fable
author
and
and
10,000-year-old history.
that's it. Every Games Workshop creator has at some point said, yes, but this is just my take on the
And it's
story.
fiction.
And that's the thing I think that people often get bogged down in and forget, especially with all these narrative lore YouTubers, is the Games Workshop background, I'm going to call it background, is just a whole bunch of individual people's take upon a story.
Yeah,
So
I mean,
yes,
look at Ian Watson's novel, Space Marine. If
Yeah.
we're, if people are going to be sticklers to the lore, they should be sticking to that as well, which was interesting.
Ian Watson's novels, and I mean that means that we should allow that everything that Matt Ward did with Space Marines to stand. It's every different aspect of the kind of narrative just adds inspiration, is how I would put it. I think the biggest problem that Games Workshop had was when they started to take their own background too seriously. So I think it was 7th edition, no, it was 8th edition when they started introducing a rule that you could only use, the Ultramarines rules if your army was specifically painted as Ultramarines. If you painted your army to look like a successor chapter, you were limited to a subset version of the rules. That your army only got all the shiny rules if you painted them a particular way. That is law oppressing people's.
Was in their stupid phase, though. The
Which
days
stupid
of.
phase? They've had lots of stupid.
Well, yeah,
phases.
but that was like the days of like when they released Dreadfleet. That kind of era, weren't it? 7th edition. It's like,
well, it was 8th edition.
We know what we're doing because we're Games Workshop.
I'd just say, like, my what I was going to add to it is just, I'll shout out. I don't know if you guys have listened to him before. He's one of the biggest lore YouTubers, Lutin or Luetin. He does do some great videos.
I know him, yeah.
It's 40k, but the way he always prefaces all of his lore videos, because people always have a go at him, obviously, for certain things where he's missing.
Everyone
things,
has
it's
a
so
lore
hard to do.
It's a lore video,
obviously. But like he always prefaces his videos now with basically the fact that most Warhammer lore comes from a certain character's perspective, and and then somebody has basically, it's like hearsay kind of thing. So the beauty of a lot of the Warhammer lore is that you can change it, because you can say, oh, it's only come from this person and their account of what happened.
Yeah.
So it's not necessarily, a fixed piece of lore, and I think that is great in the Warhammer universe that you have that, because they can mix it about. So that would be my point of view, is like, you don't have to take everything as that's exactly what it is, because they've created it in a way that doesn't have to be.
I think at the point that you begin to take the background so seriously that it becomes prescriptive, like it becomes akin to if you were playing a game like Bolt Action or something, and you began obsessing about the unit markings on the patches on the particular infantry regiment, because it doesn't exactly resemble what an infantry regiment of that particular era of that battle was capable of. I personally will play anybody with any level of army. You bring me an army which is entirely composed of loyalist world eaters. Bring it on. That sounds awesome. You want to bring an army that's composed of orcs who've all been brain slugged by Tyranid brain slugs, and they're actually under the control of the hive mind. That sounds amazing. I just don't get people for whom their obsessive focus on what is established canon. There is no established canon. I mean, it's entirely possible that everything that is happening in 40k at the moment is, a fever dream in the mind of the Emperor as he lies dying at the foot of the Golden Throne.
There's always a way to get around it. Yeah.
Genuinely, who knows?
And if I'm being honest as well,
soldiers at the end of the
if
day.
it is fixed, how boring. Like, come on, like, have some creativity.
It's got to be fluid, hasn't it?
Yeah, it has to be.
Yeah, so that's the point I was trying to make.
I completely forgotten what the question was.
A player's creativity and the stuff that they create, but it's got to be fluid. It can't be like, oh no, you can't do this because of, in White Dwarf 274, 17 years ago, it said such thing. Shut up.
Yes.
So basically, to answer the question, does lore affect how the creators create the games and the rules in the systems? No. I don't think so.
No, I think they just do what they want anyway.
Yeah, they can do what they want. Yeah.
And so can you when you paint your plastic man Barbies.
And and we're not going to talk about, I mean, the last bit about the whole thing with like the female, like we had last year with the whole female custodians, that's a whole other can of worms And you guys should
we
know
haven't
what we
got
think
time
of
to
that
go
by
down that
now.
rabbit
So,
hole today.
No.
your
It's
second
cool.
question.
Watch the episode where she goes and sees the white console. She's badass. End of story.
Yeah. Your second question, Syndraconic, will
White
leave
Templar,
until
even.
next episode because you've already had one this time. But I'll save it till next time. Don't worry. We'll take one from Reddit, and then we've got time for 20 questions, guys. Is that fair?
Okay.
Yeah. So I'll take Ronamas 2020 from Reddit. Do you have a game system that you enjoy more than Warhammer 40k? If so, what is
Yes.
it?
Yes.
I think yes for all of us because
Yes.
our favourite games are Warhammer, but not Warhammer 40k. For me, it changes Sigmar. I don't know, Ben, Old World, or Fantasy. In general.
I don't know if it's to be honest, I enjoy Necromunda more. I enjoy
Yeah.
Old World and Classic Fantasy more. I think I enjoy Lord of the Rings more than 40k, to be honest. Like, I paint 40k armies mainly because I enjoy the models. I don't really play the game that much.
I assume they're talking about modern 40k as well. I suppose.
Yeah, this is true.
Talking about,
Talking
like,
third edition 40k, that's a whole different kettle of fish.
Yeah.
Let me get my stack of Codices rulebooks out.
My main drive for 40k modelling and painting is to have the second edition armies that I could never have when I was old enough to, when I was playing second edition. So, like, I want an Eldar army. I'm not necessarily going to use it on the tabletop unless 11th edition turns out to be good, but to have it on the shelf and think that's my Eldar army, I've always
not
wanted one.
everybody's a player either. You know, it's a lot of people just like to collect and paint certain things.
But
as
yeah,
well,
for the question,
so.
I prefer Old World and soon to be Heresy, Blood Bowl,
And Dreadfleet.
and then other games like Shatterpoint and what have you.
Nice. Well, there you go. Nice quick question to end it on. I've got a couple there that I've put in that we were going to do today, but we want to play some Warhammer 20 questions, so we'll get to it next episode, guys. I'm sure we'll have time then.
Right, come on.
And for any new ones, but it's
Remember
been a
how the
while,
game is
guys. You got to
played.
shake off the boots here. You know,
Come on, son. We can do this.
put the Warhammer 20 questions boots on. It's been a while. So for anybody who can't remember, this is classic Morehammer right here. We used to play it all the time, but it did get a bit much for me to do it every week. But I've actually come up with one for the guys to conquer this week.
Oh, this can only end well with your, in-depth knowledge of the back.
Hey, don't start on that. Usually I'd have to research stuff that other people send in. It's worse then. At least I'll pick one that I know.
Is it
so?
No.
So basically, the way this works, if you've ever played 20 questions in general, people, or 20 Q as it's often been called, the guys go against me here. I have an idea in my head of a character or unit from the universe of Warhammer. It can be any of the game systems or the worlds within Warhammer, and they have to ask me 19 questions. No, 19, and the 20th usually has to be your guess. I think is how we did it. So, and that's how it's going to be. It's yes or no questions they have to ask me, and that's how we're going to go. And I'll try and keep track of how many they've asked me, because it's been a while. But guys, Sai, I believe tradition does fit that the top person at the top of the screen gets the first question. So, let the questioning begin.
Well, we've got to start with the old faithful. Do you reside in the Warhammer 40,000 universe? Oh, the 41st millennium it is, isn't it?
No, that's question one.
Ooh.
I do not.
Are you a denizen of the world that was?
I am, yes.
Are you a character or leader amongst your army/peers?
Yes, I am. That's 3. This is a good start, boys. It's a good start.
Do you have an existing model that can be purchased through the Games Workshop store?
No.
Online store. Okay, so it's a character or leader, but doesn't have a model that you can purchase at the moment.
Have you had your own Black Library novel or novel series?
Not my own, I don't believe, no.
Ooh. Have you appeared in a Black Library novel or novel series?
Not to my own knowledge, and not from sources that I can find or quotes per se.
Okay.
So, but could I have been? Maybe, I don't know, but not to my knowledge, Bentley.
Are you male?
Good question.
Yes. That's 7, I believe now.
Are you human?
Nope. That's 8.
Do you squeak like a rat?
No, that's 9.
Not Skaven then.
Do
Pointy
you
ears?
have? Well, pointy ears is difficult because it could be orcs and goblins also have pointy ears instead of
Yeah.
elves. I was going to go with. Do you follow the chaos powers?
Oh, good question.
Yes, that's 10. So you're halfway and starting to narrow it down a bit.
Male leader doesn't have an existing model, hasn't appeared in a Black Library novel. Chaos.
That's about call, maybe.
Maybe never had a model. Has he appeared? No, it's never appeared in a Black Library novel, to the best of my knowledge. He was human, and we've established it wasn't a human.
Oh, yes. Unless,
As of
unless he's being finicky about like Chaos Warriors or
Chaos Warriors are human. They're just chaos.
yeah.
They're human with spiky bits on.
Okay, Ben. To answer your question, I think they have actually appeared, but they don't have their own novel.
So they're not their own. They've not got their own novel. You said it was he, though. You did say it was male.
Well, yeah, but they can still mean male or female. I was just
Sorry,
referring to them.
I'm just checking that it's not like, you know,
No, it is a he.
a male character with two heads or something.
No. But
Here,
I've just
Matt,
done a
he's bragging.
search just to see if they have appeared in a Black Library novel. Because let's be honest, they could like have a small appearance anywhere. They have,
Okay.
but not like they definitely haven't had their own novel.
Okay. Male chaos, non-human, might have appeared in a Black Library novel.
I know they definitely have been in one, but
Okay.
they're not the main. I've just checked.
Okay.
Just checked. They're
Would
in the
you-
blurb of a novel I've just found.
Not human.
Not human. Well, I asked if they were human, and Luke said.
Is it my question now?
Not human.
It is.
Would you be considered to be a large and fearsome beast type character?
I would.
Oh, Kragnos, maybe.
It's 11.
Oh,
Have
world
you
that
had
world that wasn't
a
it?
model in the past?
Yes, that's 12.
So they've had a model. They don't have one now. Non-human, male, chaos. Started leader amongst their time. I think we are starting to narrow it down. I have a suspicion as well.
Oh. Are you a chaos dwarf?
No,
Okay, that rules that out then.
that's 13.
Do you have rocky or craggy skin?
Rocky or craggy skin? No.
Okay, that's not what I
14.
was thinking then. I was thinking of the Troll King. Throg. I like that character.
I'll let you.
Maybe a
I'll let you
demon?
go one more, and I'll give you a tip.
Some kind of demon?
We haven't checked if it's a demon, actually. Do you want to ask?
Yeah. Are you a demon?
No.
Okay.
Okay, not a chaos dwarf, not a
So
troll.
that's 15. You got 4 more questions and a guess. So because I thought Sai had kind of asked it and already. I thought I'd go straight onto it from that, but you asked, is it? Well, I can't remember the exact question, but beast. So
Large beast.
Beast or fearsome type character, yeah.
yeah, should be yours. No, sorry, that was 15, wasn't it? So it's yours, Ben.
Okay. Okay.
So we're looking for some sort of big Kragnos type person, but for
Well,
the
or
world,
beast, because it could be a beast man. A beast man isn't
Yeah.
human. Do you have horns?
Yes, that's 16.
Okay, so it's a
or
beast man.
Krellmore, maybe.
Well, Crowmore's not had a. Well, Crowmore is the new one, isn't he? I suppose, yeah. But Crowmore has an existing model.
He's not out yet, though.
Oh, true. I asked if it was a currently available for purchase model, not. But I asked had he had a model previously, and Luke said yes to that.
Is that a model previously?
Has he had an old one?
There are two or three previous Beastman horned models. There's Morgor. Well, there's 4. There's Morgor. Oh, no, there's loads. Damn it! There's Morgor. There's there's the Centaur character, Goros Warhoof. There's Gorthor the Beast Lord. There's Kazakh One Eye, the one with the big whip, and the Warhound. There is quite a few Beastmen to still narrow it down.
Yeah, and you got 3 questions and a guess. Sai, it's your turn next for a question. It's close, this one, you know.
Okay,
My
hang on,
Beastman
let's see.
Lord sucks.
My Beastman Lord doesn't, but we need to be able to narrow it down. Okay. just me think a minute. Gorthor's on a chariot. Kazakh One Eye's got a dog. I'm thinking basically if we can ask how many legs they've got, that will help us narrow it down. Because Gorthor's chariot technically includes the driver and the Duskagors, so that's more than 2 legs. Morgor has more than 2 legs, but as
You said it was some sort of beast thing, but I meant like a lion.
I had horns as well.
Who's Malagor?
Malagor the Dark Omen. Malagor the Dark Omen. He's the one with wings, so he's the one that has big crow wings on his back. Yeah, I mean, he had a model who doesn't have one now, so it could equally be him. He's got 2 legs. Kazakh One Eye's got 2 legs. I don't know any other way to narrow it down. I do. They've been in a Black Library novel. Okay, hang on. He did say they'd been in a Black Library novel. Oh, God, okay. Which Beastman characters have been in Black Library novels?
Who's the one in the Gotrek and Felix books?
There isn't a Beastman character that appears. Bizarrely, Beast Slayer, despite, having a suggestion of Beast in the title, actually they spend most of the time fighting Chaos Warriors, bizarrely.
Right.
Gorthor the Beast Lord did appear in 2 Black Library short stories by Josh Reynolds. So Gorthor, he was in God's Demand, which is featured in... I actually got that book. Might have to reread it. Okay, Gorthor was. What about...
Goros
Morgor?
Warhoof?
I'm just checking if Morgor...
Or is it Malagor? Was it?
Morgor.
You got Kazrak as well, haven't you? From the famous art, Kazrak One Eye.
Okay, Morgor has not been in a Black Library novel.
Oh, excuse me,
One
sorry.
Eye has also, as far as I can see, not been in a Black Library novel.
That one. Does your name begin with M? Or...
Malagor has also not been in a Black Library novel that I can see. Ask if he rides a chariot.
Do you ride a chariot?
Yes. Yes, I do.
Were
You were skirting around it for bloody ages.
Oh no,
I was
gotta narrow it down. I was thinking about how many legs it's got. Did you originally appear in the 5th edition supplement Champions of Chaos?
Yes, you did. I was hoping you were going to ask something more along those lines because the Black Library thing was a bit more like, but yeah.
I mean, true. There were only 2 Beastmen characters in that book.
Yeah.
So who is it then?
Shall I make the guess?
I'm still not sure.
Are you Gorthor the Beast Lord?
I am Gorthor the Beast Lord on my chariot.
Undefeated!
Yeah.
I made not much
Took a bit of
contribution at
going,
the end,
but
then.
yeah, there he is, the old model. I don't know. I don't think he's returned yet as the Ben, not in the new stuff. No. But he was around in the old world though.
Back as a Beast Lord on chariot, if nothing else. I thought they might.
He was slap bang in the middle of the old world from the research I've done. So
if nothing else, as a made to order, I mean, the made to order we've had for Beastmen so far has been shocking. Compared to some of the made to orders for other armies, the Beastmen again. Okay, here's some models from 6th edition and a couple.
Yeah,
of
they just announced them on Sunday, didn't they?
And they are. It's pants, to be honest. All the things they could have released as made to order, like Gorthor the Beast Lord. It's an awesome character model. Looks equally cool on foot, to be fair.
I thought it was quite a fun, challenging one to bring back for the first one.
Yeah, definitely.
So, yeah.
Armed with a big spear called the Impaler from memory.
We were both doing great until we got to the fact that it was Beastmen, and I was hit a brick wall. Then I was like, right,
I thought you were going to
remember 3 names,
you
and I nearly got
it down because you went non-Skaven, then you asked Chaos. I was like, for Old Worlds, Beastmen are just right there, man. Like I was surprised.
I was hoping it was going to be Throg the Troll King because I was going to ask, do you have a crown?
I'm sure it'll pop up eventually, without a doubt. There's so many that can be done, and endless possibilities. But yeah, that was fun. Warhammer 20K. We'll have to bring it back every couple of episodes or a few episodes if we have the time for it. It's it's a time one really with the 20 questions.
Yeah.
So, but I'm glad you enjoyed that one, guys, and still undefeated after your return. Thanks. We'll leave it there, guys. Thanks for listening and watching. Please do make sure, as we say, subscribe, follow us on Spotify, join us in that Discord. The link's in the description below. Chat to us over there. I think we'll leave it there, guys. Simon, where can people find you before we head off?
Yep, you can find me on my own channel on YouTube at Hobby Waffle, and I've also got the same handle on Instagram, Blue Sky, and on Facebook as well.
Cool. And Ben?
Ditto, you can find me over on Blue Sky and Instagram and my own channel with the 90% Geek handle. Come and vote on Lord of the Rings models as to what I should be painting next, and what other mad painting challenges I set myself.
Vote what other system you want Ben to go across to paint.
Oh, maybe that's the next one I should do. I should do like a poll, 4 game systems.
Which gang should he paint a ganger from this time?
Yeah,
totally.
Yeah, that'd be good. And as for me, guys, Wargaming Luke. Find me over mostly on Blue Sky. I'm always sharing my updates on there, and obviously, like I say, in the Discord, join us there. I love chatting to our people, our friends over there. But otherwise, guys, that'll be it until next time. A couple of weeks' time, whatever we're chatting about then around Warhammer. But until then, happy wargaming. Stay safe, guys. Bye-bye.
Bye. Undefeated.